And so we started to realize, or at least I started to realize, that some of these guys weren't being on the up and up. They were doing good stuff, and unfortunately, it's not being collecting donations. But you know, we knew in the beginning that Ford had melted down, and there was trouble there, and there's a video that came out released on the 31st, showing it on fire at the tail end of the mine here. But you could see that it was on fire and was releasing into the atmosphere. And Arnie put out a video stating that he'd just seen this video. He showed it in this little piece. You can see a little square of it, and I knew exactly which video he's talking about. And so he didn't really talk much about it. He just said it's really alarming, and that's all he really said was it's alarming. And then the next day, or probably about 3 days later, he shows up on Alex Jones with Natural News, Mike, I think it's Mike, interviewing him, and Arnie decided to propagate the Ford falling over thing, and he just continued to do that. And he knew that, yeah, so what if it fell over? There was nothing left in there. There really wasn't. The reactor was full and caught on fire. It wasn't working, but it still caught on fire, and the pool caught on fire, and it rolled out the side and went into the ocean. And the reactor core went underground. So, uh, not quite sure why or what Arnie was thinking doing that, and he propagated that, and it went everywhere. I mean, I could show you tons of videos of people saying the same thing. Oh my God, what if Ford falls over? And then these two very highly respected people in Japan came out with a video talking about what happened if Ford falls over, the devastation, and the world would be at an end, and da 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 da. And it all fell in line with what they were trying to hide from you as far as number four was concerned, but also to obfuscate the fact that we have one, two, and three in there spent fuel pools all in meltdown. Uh, you know, uh, Strangely enough, those highly respected Japanese guys that put out that video, it was taken down because it was quite scary what they were saying. But it did fall in line with what they were propagating, so it was quite shocking to see that video disappear. I guess it wasn't really. So that kind of was a bit of a punch there in the head. Oh, there it is. Bit of a hammer. So yeah, and Patrick didn't really cover that, which is a really big sticking issue that I have with Arnie, Busby, and all these people, even Helen. They basically killed themselves by saying some really stupid things when it really counted. I mean, in the beginning they were saying some really interesting stuff, you know, good stuff. Everybody rightly should have propagated that, shown it. But then later, like I said, they start to say some really stupid things like the ocean is fine and Busby, and what a retarded comment to make. Um, Gunderson not telling the truth when you had the audience. That was really depressing. Um, so, and then Helen just recently, I don't know, maybe they got to these people and threatened them, paid them some money, who knows what. But really, this has come down to a citizen's thing, as Kevin has said. It's us that tell the story. The media, even though I like Dana and he's saying lots of great stuff, the stuff he's talking about is mostly mainstream, and I don't want to give them too much credit because the way they reported things just uh, wasn't helping anything at all, and we've seen many examples of how that's been done. Uh, so that's frustrating. AP was the first to kind of put out the FOIA documents. They paid for that, obviously, if you've been following things. And you can clearly tell when the fire happened in New Mexico at their underground nuclear waste storage facility. Uh, reading their news release of this happening, you can see that certainly they've been told what's what, right? So uh, this is what we're dealing with. It's all over the world. It's not just North America. It's not just the West Coast. The West Coast is the front line, though. Obviously, all the stories of the fish and jellyfish and sardines and yada yada. All of the wildlife is showing and telling us that we're in danger, and that we really need to take notice. These aren't viruses. All these things don't happen at once, and it's not all viruses that happen at once. I mean, that's just crazy to think that that's the case. All at the same time, what are the chances? You know, it just doesn't happen. Back when they tried to start up the oi plant in Japan, the jellyfish actually attacked and martyred themselves or sacrificed themselves, if you will, by trying to plug up the water intake there. And then it happened again later on. You've had moose, deer, birds, on and on, dying, wildlife. And so, you know, Mother Nature and wildlife are trying to tell us that, you know, things are not the way, aren't what they seem. And they're, in a sense, warning us. And why people are ignoring that is really quite beyond me, because obviously the next level would be human level, major scale like it is in the wild. So very distressing to see that people want to say that they're all viruses, yada yada yada, disease, whatever. That's, you know, and that kind of gets to the heart of why I'm on here, because I think we need to talk about this, and nobody wants to talk about this. They all want to continue to educate people, and I think that's great, because there's still people 3 years later that I've told that have no idea what's going on. So I don't begrudge anyone doing that. It's just that for some of us who've been, you know, watching this from the start, realize that things are pretty bad, and how will we possibly survive this sort of thing? That's the biggie, you know, because it's everywhere, and you know, we've been eating, breathing, and drinking radiation, radioactive particles for almost 3 years now, and nobody wants to talk about, you know, they just want to talk about stopping it. Well, I don't really know if they can stop it. I believe they have the technology, but I don't believe that they're really interested in releasing that technology to save anyone. And because we're at almost the 3-year mark, you know, literally very little's been done worldwide, or from the UN, or from other governments saying, hey, what the hell is going on? Let's do something. When you see inaction, it only leads you to believe that maybe they just don't want to do anything, or can't do anything, or both. Not talking about it doesn't really solve things, because at this point in time, I do personally believe that humanity is in jeopardy, and I realize a lot of people don't want to hear that and don't want to talk about that, and they want to have hope, and they should have hope, but let's live in reality here, because this is the way it is. We can delude ourselves and dream that things will get hopeful, and this and that will happen, and everything will be hunky-dory, but the fact is it's just not going to be that way at this point in time anymore. And so the only thing that I can think of is something that I'll talk about in the next video, and hopefully it will make some sort of sense to people. And it's definitely, you know, this accident has changed everything, and changed the way people will live from now on, and I think people need to realize that, and they need to own up to that, and there'll still be millions of deaths anyways, and this may not even help that situation.